Welcome back. And if you tuned in late today, my very special guest is Dr. Roger Rhoades, who is a family therapist. And we're talking about attitudes. And I'm thinking in terms of children starting back to school. If you can have a positive attitude and present that to your children and make them feel this is a wonderful opportunity, it's going to be fun, it's going to be positive, give them the will to move forward in a positive way. And we've talked about attitudes, how important an attitude is.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that's wonderful. We all have to have the right attitude if we're going to succeed in life,
Amen.
Whether it's in a job or a marriage or a school, whatever it is.
Boy, it's huge right there. And I want to jump in.
Yeah.
Impossible. I believe impossible to be married in a negative attitude. I just do not believe people with a negative attitude can stay married. I think they're going to be on the Kill 'Em channel.
All right, now wait a minute, Roger. Back up. I agree with you. To be around somebody with a negative attitude all the time, it tears you down too.
Amen. Man,
okay?
That's it. Yes, birds of a feather.
Yeah, all right.
That's it, man. You got to get the different birds.
All right. Now, if you have a negative attitude or you're involved with people around you, whether it's family members or people you work with or whatever, who have this Down syndrome kind of thing,
yes.
How do you rise above that? You can't just wave a wand and say, oh, come on and smile.
Peggy, it's simple. You got to move. You know? Yeah, sometimes you just got to pack the car and go somewhere else. Man, it isn't just going to rain down and all of a sudden change all the negative people around you. Sometimes you got to examine the birds around you. And if all the birds around you are negative, you need to get a different, bunch of birds. And some people, and I hate to say this, seek out negative birds. They seek them out at school. They seek them out at work. They seek them out at church.
Some people enjoy being negative?
Yes, it just energizes them. If there's not drama, if they're not in a fight, they're not happy. Have I seen people like that? Oh, every day, Peggy. Every day. That's how many. They're everywhere. You've got to consciously choose what team you're going to be on. You're going to be on some team. If you just kind of sit back and let it happen, the chances are you're going to be on the negative team because that's the easiest team to get on. But if you're on a positive team, you got to choose a positive team. And you've got to do the work it takes to get on that positive team.
All right, Roger. I'm with you.
Okay.
Somebody sitting out there who's had some really bad situations happen to them through maybe no fault of their own.
Right.
And you say, well, smile and be happy. It doesn't work that way. How do you bring this about? If you or someone you love is in a situation, and as I say, maybe it isn't their fault, how do you make the change from being in a negative situation or using the negative situation and making it better?
The first place, therapeutically, we must start is with identification. Some people are not even aware of how negative their environment is. So that's the first thing as a therapist you want them to do, is identify. Is this a positive negative attitude or a negative? Is this an environment in which you can grow, or is this an environment that stifles you? And there's basically two kinds of people. There are cheerleaders and there are critics. Which camp are you around? If you're around a bunch of cheerleaders, I'm saying therapeutically at some point you're going to win. Now, it may not be today.
It just rubs off on you.
It just does. It just does. It's fascinating. Winners win. And losers lose. That's just the nature of the beast. It's so odd to hear, thanks negative, we did negative, but we got this success. I never hear that. I hear we went at it, we went at it, we went at it, and eventually we broke through and we made it. Now, I hear that and I love that. And so I want to encourage people to figure out who's around them and gravitate to the cheerleaders. Surround themselves with the cheerleaders. Look like at a pie chart and see how much time you're spending. Let's say you get a red pen and a green pen, okay? And the red is the negative and the green is the positive. And you look at your time and you color what kind of people you're around. And if your pie is basically red, you're going to have a tough life. I'm telling you straight up, you're going to have a tough life. But if I have more red than green and I say, God help me, I need to get more green. And I'm going to consciously seek out, choose, hang around, be involved, get into clubs, get into classes, get around people. Even at work, if at the water fountain, if I see this group is negative, I'm not thirsty at that moment. But if all of a sudden I look over there and there's a group of positive people, I want to go get some water right then. Because just being around those people,
it rubs off on you.
It does. Yeah. It's weird how that happens. Mood is infectious. Mood is infectious. And how are we, and we're going to get infected. You're going to get infected, I'm going to get infected. And winners affect and make for winners. Losers infect and make for losers. And so we need to look at how we're doing that. And we can't rely on life. We have to make a conscious choice. I'm going to go be around people. And I've just been fascinated as I've gone through different schools, as I've been in different programs. Birds of a feather flock together. If I just go on a retreat, it's amazing how there's a group of people that are positive that are hanging out at the retreat. And the people that are negative are hanging around with the negative people. And at that moment, I have to take a step, consciously, I have to take a step back and say, which birds? Which group? I'm going to get infected here at this retreat. I'm going to get infected at this church. I'm going to get infected at this school. Who I'm going to hang with. And what I noticed when I went to seminary, when I was a freshman, the positive people hung with the positive people and the negative people hung with the negative people. 3 years later.
Still the same.
Still the same. I couldn't believe it. I said, these people who have been ain't it awful are still 3 years later. They just got 3 years more education and good Christian education. But ain't it awful? And I look back and I say, whew, I'm glad I didn't hang with that crowd. And you'd say, what about this? Say, oh, you can't do that. And I say, who says you can't do that? Oh, we don't know who said that, but we just know you can't do that. I said, I don't believe you can't do that until somebody comes up and says to me, of some authority, you can't do that. And so there were a lot of things that I did that people said you couldn't do. I said, where's that written? They couldn't tell me, so I went out and tried it.
So it is important, the people we associate with.
It's everything. It's everything. Because, as you see very clearly, it's infectious. When I go and I'm around good people and we hang out, and even if we just go have a burger and fries, but I'm around positive people, that's a different burger and fry.
I agree. I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So we need to consciously look around us and decide what kind of an attitude we're going to have. And then that in itself, if you're a positive and you smile, maybe not everything's perfect. Nobody has a perfect life.
Amen.
But if you find a way to rise above some of these things and show love to your fellow man, and you're going to be better off. We all will be, right?
Yeah,
and
right, Peggy.
Roger, we're out of time.
I know. And one thing we want to remember is don't let your kids hang out with kids that you don't know the attitude of their parents.
Okay, that's important.
That's powerful.
We all need to check out everything, according to Roger.
Amen.
Okay? Dr. Roger Rhoades, wherever you are, smile, say some prayers, and be happy.
Amen.